Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to look at two different companies that are really undervalued at the moment. Probably these two are two of the best companies in the technology sector, and I will tell you why. But before we get to the two different companies that we're looking at today, I just want to share this with you because I was doing like a little bit of research about business and all that stuff recently, and I came across this and I think this is really great. So let me show you what's going on. So we've got the sales and we've got the time here, and then we've got this is like the business cycle. So whenever you start a business, this is basically your initial stage. Okay, so the basic introduction stage where you've got the low sales, high costs, no or little profit. So you're not making any profit, the company just starting, right? Then you get to this growth stage where basic sales are increasing, they basically reduce cost, and you're making some sort of a profit. So this is where some of the people start discover the company, they get to know them, and then so on. Then you get to the mature stage where you've consistently have a high sales, you reduce the costs, and you're making profit. This is the stage where a lot of the companies start paying a dividend. Okay, this is where I like to invest. Also, I like to invest in growth stage because obviously it has the potential to go up. So if you invest in at around here, okay, by the time the company gets to this here, okay, you probably made a lot of money by then. So it's very important to kind of understand this basically cycle, okay. And the final stage is the declining stage, which is like right now there are a lot of people who are just after dividends. There are a lot of companies that pay you really huge dividends, okay, and these dividends actually are not basically money that they made through sales. They actually sometimes borrow these companies. So the high yield companies tend to be declining at the moment. There's plenty of them in the stock market. People see it and they feel like, oh, this is like 4% yield, oh, this is great, I'm going to invest in this company, not knowing that this is in the declining stage. All you're getting is a dividend. You're not getting basically that capital appreciation and the growth that comes with it. So what I'm trying to say to you here is obviously you just need to understand whenever you invest in a company, what is stage of the cycle there at that point. So if you are on the introduction stage, okay, just like basically Tattoo Chef, for example, for me, they are at this stage at the moment. They're not making profit. They are basically surviving. They are coming up with the new products. They're trying to grow their product line and so on. I've got companies here, okay, and that are started already making profit. Okay, they're reducing their costs, their sales are growing, people are basically aware of these companies, and like one of those companies is CrowdStrike. So CrowdStrike is basically right about here, so just that line in between. Then there are a couple of companies that I have that is in the growth stage, and majority of my basically companies that I own in my portfolio come from here. So when I look at this here, I can easily tell you the companies like 3M basically is at that maturity stage. All of these companies are, every single one of them at that basically stage at the moment. Some of them obviously, like Qualcomm for example, I believe is around here, okay, because they are making profit. They're actually a profitable company. They do pay dividend, but I think there's a lot more to come from that company, right? Then you've got Salesforce, you've got Tattoo Chefs. I'll come back to that Salesforce because that's the first stock that we're analyzing today, right? And then you've got Tesla's, Unilever's. So Tesla is at around this stage right now, okay? They're making profit, but they're not actually, their profit comes through other things instead of just selling cars. So they are around this stage. So this will help you reduce your risk when you invest in it. So I thought I'll share this with you. So it's one of those things that when you invest in, you obviously have to make sure the companies that you invest in that basically are making profit. And if they're not making profit and you are happy with the stage they are at the moment, and they're in the introduction stage, and you're happy to hold and wait for another 5, 7, 8, 10 years, whatever, then that's absolutely fine. Okay, so let's look at the first company today, and that is Salesforce. Right, so this basically website is called Morningstar. Is by far one of the best websites out there. They are when it comes to analyzing stocks, when it comes to ETFs, they're really great. Very expensive. Okay, I've only got monthly subscriptions. I'm gonna test out to see. So for the last few months, I've been using it just to kind of see what they offer. I have no affiliation or anything like that. I'm just paying for my own and then trialing it out to see how it actually all works. Okay, one thing I like about the analysts is actually they are very, very harsh. They're not like one of those companies where they just give you a higher rating because of whatever. They are very harsh when it comes to evaluation of companies, so that is really good for me. So the Salesforce Salesforce basically develops enterprise cloud computing, okay, solutions for customer relationship management worldwide. So they help other businesses manage their customers. Okay, so they allow them to store their data, then they monitor that data, they analyze that data, they forecast, and they help these companies grow their customer base and obviously analyze and try to sell more products to these companies. So not only are they a cloud service company, they actually take that information and do something with it, analyze it for the company, tell them where the data is coming from, who's logging in, what they're buying, what they're doing. All that analysis basically comes with their platform, and is one of those companies if you actually sign up for their cloud service, you end up basically signing up for other things as well. And once you're hooked and you are that in the environment, it's very, very hard to leave because they do everything for you. Okay, so once you get hooked, basically that's it, that's you in it. The company has been around for a long time. They are currently at this stage. Okay, so they're increasing sales, basically reducing costs, and they are making profit, and that's basically where they are at the moment. So let's have a look at if this company is overvalued or undervalued. Now Morningstar has basically star rating. Okay, so 5-star means the stock is very, very cheap, and 1 means it's very expensive. And when we look at this, you can see you've got for Salesforce is a 4-star at the moment, and the fair value based on what they think, based on the analysis, right, they think this stock is worth $273 per share. Okay, $273 per share, currently trading $242 per share. So there's a lot of upside. They think this company has a wide moat. This basically means, okay, that what moat is basically competitive advantage. That's what it means. So you've got competitive advantage over your competitors. Okay, and wide means basically they have things they offer that other companies cannot offer at the moment, and that's basically what it is. The company has been growing their sales this year like crazy. So 23% year over year in terms of revenue, in terms of sales, in terms of their services, it's actually gone about 47%. In terms of the current remaining performance obligation, is about 23 year over year. And when we look at their moat, for example, it talks about here the fact that Salesforce is one of those companies where you call it a software as a service. And this is basically one of those subscription based things. So they get subscription. So they basically offer subscription software where you have to renew every year. And a lot of the companies, like I said earlier, that are basically with this company actually stay with them for a very long time, because once you build that basically customer relationship with them and you're getting all of this data, it's not easy to move to a different company. Okay. And when you look at this here, this line here, it says Salesforce.com overall, we assign a wide moat rating arising primarily from switching costs with support from a network effect as well. What this means is switching costs is basically when companies leave Salesforce to join another company. So the switching costs will be so high that a lot of these companies will stay with Salesforce. And obviously they're benefiting a lot because of what happened in the last couple of years, where everything is cloud based, And a lot of their customers, by the way, are not just the biggest companies in the world. They have also very, very small companies. And one of the reasons I think this company is undervalued at the moment, or the share price is actually way cheaper than what it should be, is the fact that it's kind of reopening play, because a lot of their companies, a lot of the smaller businesses have actually either stopped obviously trading, or basically stopped closed to completely. So they have obviously been affected by all of this, and because of the platform and what they offer, they definitely have a opportunity to actually come back from basically the lockdown and everything that we've gone through this year. So as you can see, the company is really cheap at the moment. If the what the analyst is saying here is actually true, okay, then you can see it's way cheap in comparison to what's out there at the moment. When we look at Salesforce in the Simply Wall Street, they also say it's about 17% undervalued at the moment. So they think in the fair value should be 292. Like I said to you earlier, when it comes to Morningstar, they are slightly basically harsher, if you like, or stricter, which I actually do like, because it gives me like something to compare with. Okay, and when it comes to Simply Wall Street, I think they're slightly linear, if you like. Okay, so you can see is almost basically what they're saying is the fair value is $292 per share. When we look at Yahoo Finance, what you see is it's actually a buy. It's almost a strong buy, if you like. Okay, and what they're saying is their fair value is about 278, or the average is 278, and currently trading 242. So this company has a basically potential to actually double your money in the next 5 to 10 years. I'm definitely buying more in the next few weeks, and I'll see how it goes. And again, they recently basically bought this company called Slack. Okay, Slack is still trading. I think they haven't made the switch yet. They bought it for $27 billion. And this is one of the things about Salesforce. They actually acquire a lot of these smaller companies and then add them to their platforms, which then helps them grow further. And one of the reasons I love about this, they're competing with Microsoft, but at the same time in a kind of healthier way. Okay, because what they're trying to do is, obviously Microsoft is a bigger company and it has a lot more money and power, and obviously a lot of customer base, and they've got services, things like the different sort of operating systems and things like that, platforms that Salesforce doesn't have at the moment. Okay, but the fact that they actually aim in that sort of thing, that makes me happy, because I know this company has a potential to grow. And the fact that they have a wide mode in a competition, in a basically an environment that's so competitive, that really makes me happy. Okay, so now let's have a look at the second company. And again, like I said, I actually own, let me quickly show you before I finish with Salesforce, I own 2.5 shares, 2.8 shares in here, and I also own overall total of 5.5 shares, but in basically between free trade and here. Okay, and as you can see, I'm slightly up. It was down for a while, and if I see a dip, I'm buying it. I'm buying it now, and if I see a dip, I'm even buying more. So I'm gonna try to get to at least 10 to 15 shares of this company in the next couple of months. Hopefully see how that goes. Right, so the second company we're going to look at today is so the second company that we're going to look at is the it's a company that's at the maturity stage. So I will say Salesforce is around here, so the growth stage. So they're increasing their sales, they're basically reducing their costs, and obviously they started to make profit, and a lot of it. Okay, the maturity company that we're going to look at, the company that we're going to look at next, is actually a company in the maturity stage that consistently have huge sales. Okay, huge sales, reduces costs and increasing profits. So so the company that we're going to look at is Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft has 3 stars at the moment, which means it's fair valued. When I started putting this video together, it was actually undervalued, and I'll show you what the other companies are saying, and the other analysts are saying as well. But currently trading at $257 per share. The fair value of this company will be $278 per share. Okay, so currently trading at 257, but 278 is the fair value. So it's still undervalued company. It has a wide mode because we know this company is huge. This is the second or the third biggest company in the world, and at the moment they have a huge customer base. They innovating every single year. They come up with a new product, new lines of things. Okay, where you know, you use it, I use it, everybody uses it, every single company around the world uses this company, and they are probably one of my favorite companies in the world. Okay, so let me quickly show you what they have been doing in the last few years. So they've now released a news just came up where it says Microsoft developing a new hardware to bring its Netflix for games. This is huge. Can you imagine having Netflix for games services to basically TVs? Now, I don't know how true this is, and I hope it is, and will be exciting to see what happens. So every single year this company makes so much cash. What they do is they then take that cash, pay as dividend, buy back shares, and then they also acquire new companies, come up with new product lines. They bought this company recently for $16 billion. Okay, and one thing I really like about this company, if you read these headlines, you say, look, you know, US lawmakers introduce bills to target for big tech. When they say big tech, you think straight away Microsoft must be included because they are one of the biggest companies, but definitely not. Look at this. Okay, that is just Amazon, Apple, Google, and Facebook. They are not a part of that. They do exactly what the government wants them to do. They're not monopolizing the markets. They're not bullying anybody. They just getting on with their business. They buy new companies. They doing everything, you know, the government wants them to do, and we as investors want them to do, and they are undervalued at the moment. I'm not going to give you more details about Microsoft because I'm sure I've done videos before and you know what the company does, but it's really important to look into this type of companies for your long-term investment. For me, they are my biggest holding at the moment. So if I show you, I've got almost £3,000 in this company. I'm still buying. I'm not stopping. Even though it's about 11% of my overall portfolio, I'm happy to buy more, maybe up to 15% of overall my portfolio. You know, the reason I'm doing that is because of the growth play as well as a dividend as well. And I'll show you one thing as well. So when you go to Morningstar, and if you go to dividend section, there's two things that I want you to pay attention to, right? So you've got dividend per share, and then you've got the trailing dividend yield as well as the buyback shares. Now currently, okay, this company pays us a dividend, let me show you, of 0.85. so that's the yield that we get for the dividend, right? They also buy back their shares. So what that means is basically they buy on their own shares. So there's less shares out there, which means we own our shares that we own are worth more. Okay, and the yield for that is 1.26. So in overall, we actually getting about 2.11 total yield for every single share that we own. And that's really good because even though their dividends are very, very small, okay, as a dividend grower, when I see they buying back their shares, they're investing that money back to the company, they're paying me a dividend, that makes me happy, and that's the kind of company that I want to invest in. And that's one of the reasons that this company is one of my top holdings. If you look at the what is it called, the Wall Street website, okay, so you will see it's actually undervalued so much to the point it's actually 323 dollars per share, in comparison to, like I said to you early, when it comes to this sort of a thing, it's actually the Morningstar is one of those companies that's slightly harsh, but I like it because it gives me something to compare with. So their fair value, they're saying is $278, whereas in here they're saying it should be over $323. Okay, again, I don't care what it is, but at the moment where they are, this company is definitely undervalued. One last thing I want to show you is what the analysts are saying, and you can see is almost a strong buy. Okay, so 1.6 is almost a strong buy, and that's great. So for me, I'm happy with the company. I've been investing in them for a long time. I'm going to keep investing in this company. Like I said to you before, the companies that I own here are, you know, blue chip companies that may be dividend or has a potential to grow. So Salesforce, I'm sure another 4 or 5 years, I'm sure they will start paying dividend, because then by then they will get to this stage of the maturity stage. Because right now they're definitely here, they're moving up, as you know, every single year, and I expect them to be here by the next 5 to 10 years. And just buy these kind of companies. Obviously you can buy the healthcare companies and all that stuff as a foundation of your as part of your portfolio, but at the same time you need to have those high growers, because some of these companies, like for example consumer staples like Kimberly-Clark, whatever, that grows about 2-3% every single year, 4-5%, 6%, 8%, whatever, and you got Salesforce and Microsoft and Apples and whatever that growing almost to 10 but 20 percent every single year. That kind of balances things out, and obviously it reduces the risk of just owning one sector and so on. Right, I made this video longer than I wanted to. I hope you benefited from this. My main aim, as I've always said to you, is just to bring you to inshallah share with you my journey and show you what I'm doing, finding new ways of actually sharing what I'm doing as well. So anytime I find a website or anything like this, the first thing I do is just trial it myself and then basically share it with you guys. So I hope you benefited from it, from the video. Please like, subscribe, let me know if you have any questions. I really appreciate, and I wanted to grow this channel and help everybody else out there to show every week. I shared my portfolio. At the moment it keeps going up and down, but to be honest with you, the only time I actually check is when I either get a dividend or basically doing a video, because I'm that type of investor that I just want to do as little as I can, just looking at it every single day, but I do a lot of research on finding out stocks and things like that. But yeah, that's another story I'll tell you another day, hopefully. But thank you very much. I really appreciate everything. All right, take care. See you soon.